Good evening. FM radio may be a step closer for Otago listeners. After years of indecision, the concert programme finally looks set to change to the higher quality signal, and commercial stations in Dunedin and Queenstown may follow suit. Southland, however, might have to wait a little longer. Michael Lynch reports.
The sweet sounds of music could be sounding even sweeter very soon for Dunedin and coastal Otago listeners. After years of indecision, the concert programme is expected any day to announce a change to high-quality stereo FM broadcasting. There's a catch, though. The line-of-sight FM signal mightn't reach outlying areas, and the signal won't be much use to listeners with older receivers. And Southland's left out in the cold, with only an evening concert signal from Hokanui Radio Gore. Southern music lovers aren't happy.
They should be thinking of the country as a whole and giving us what everybody else gets. We surely deserve that much. We pay the same as everybody else.
But profit's the game in the radio business. In Queenstown, Resort Radio, backed by Radio Otago, is battling for a local FM warrant against a consortium of the local Mountain Sea newspaper and Invercargill's 4ZA. It's a rerun of the long-time squabble whether the town's interests lie with Dunedin or Invercargill.
We have clear research, overwhelmingly clear research, which indicates that the greater affinity of interest, as far as Queenstown is concerned, lies with Invercargill rather than with Dunedin.
That's not something they like to hear in Dunedin.
It's the truth.
You know, we're not really interested in arguing the community of interest thing with Invercargill. We're not proposing to ship in any program from Invercargill to Queenstown. Ours will be solely Queenstown-based through the daytime.
But you will bring in some Dunedin programs to Queenstown?
No, only through the nighttime hours.
And Dunedin's also on the FM stakes. Local commercial stations 4XO and 4ZB are both applying this week for FM warrants. In a cosy setup, neither's opposing the other. Both are aware of the growing commercialism of the local student FM radio. Some have questioned the need for them to go FM, as they'll both stick to the tried and true hit formula. Invercargill's two similar stations, much more level pegging in the ratings, are staying right out of the FM rush. In the meantime,
4ZA has plans for FM, to go FM in the future, but there are lots of plans in Southland at the moment to go FM. It really is probably pretty sensitive commercially, and that's why there are no definite answers yet.
So if ZA suddenly jumped in and went FM, would you be hard on their heels?
We'd be in front of them.
but at Invercargill, they're simply worried about being left out again.
Now, if they got FM in Dunedin and didn't get it down here, what would be the feeling of people in Southland?
We would be starting to jump up and down a little bit, I think.
I don't disagree with them.
Couldn't radio go that little bit further and give them something extra?
It's not my decision to make. Michael Lynch, don't I?
Concert programme officials say Southland might be considered for FM next year.
Some Mosgiel residents are confused over a load of rubbish. It's 15 years since the Borough Council decided the Dusties would collect only officially approved rubbish bags. But recently, the rule's been enforced and many residents don't like it. Sally Pears reports.
Rubbish is the talk of the town in Mosgiel. For the past 15 years, there's been a right bag and a wrong bag for putting your rubbish in. The difference is a big one. This bag with Mosgiel on it will be collected by the rubbish man, and this bag will not. The council gives each household 52 bags a year, but any more they use they have to buy themselves, and this may be where the problem comes in. These Woolies bags, which are almost identical to the council bag, are cheaper and more readily available. The council say they refuse to collect them because the money they get from their own bags is used to maintain the tip and to pay the dusty. In most other places, those costs are included in rates.
There is some cost built into it, and if we don't try to recover some of those costs, the ratepayers are paying more. So it's not unfair, really. But it's just that some retailers have a cheaper bag with the same type of bag, I must admit.
Last night, the council decided to give the citizens of Mosgiel until the 1st of May to sort out the difference. And then they're adamant they'll take only regulation bags. But not everyone is agreeable.
We should have our own choice. I don't think it's really fair that they don't take it when it's there, you know. Right. Fair enough to tell you afterwards, perhaps, that that's not what you should have used, but take it anyway.
As long as they're neat and tidy and they hold together. But I think they're being a wee bit dictatorial about it.
An Invercargill garage is the humble birthplace for what Te Anau people are hoping will become one of their town's most distinctive landmarks. As John McDermott reports, the garage has become a temporary studio for a Timaru sculptor who's honouring the life of a legendary Fiordland character.
Meet Quintin Mckinnon and his creator Margaret Windhausen Vandenberg. For 7 months their lives have been linked together. It's taken that long for Margaret to shape the clay, the wax, and finally this bronze replica of the man who a century ago discovered the Milford Mountain Pass that bears his name. Margaret read as much as she could about Mckinnon, but had just 2 photos to work with as she set out to capture the explorer's strong, jolly character. The $40,000 work's been paid for by the people of Fiordland, and now that it's finished, will be mounted at a prominent site in Te Anau.
Finally tonight, there's a new challenge for those who want to look for something different in board games. It's taken 15 years, but a retired Christchurch schoolteacher has come up with the idea of a game combining chess, drafts and war games. Bob Sutton's been to meet the man and play the game.
Norman Greenway is retired and not one to sit around at the time of life watching the roses grow. His game of Blitzkrieg came about because of his love of chess and toy soldiers.
Well, they're very like chess pieces. They've all got different powers. This, for instance, the fighter plane is the strongest piece on the board. These riflemen are similar to pawns, and second strongest piece is the bomber aircraft. It's a brain game, pure and simple a brain game, because you deploy your pieces any way you like, plan your attack, deploy your pieces in secret from your opposition, and then you try to push right through to the back row here.
Pieces can only be moved 1 square at a time in any direction. And like chess, each piece is either stronger or weaker than the one on the opposing square. Norman is a doer. He's built a couple of homes already, and retirement is not to be spent on the back porch.
Now I resent this current government attitude that all oldies are sitting around with a rug over their knees, doing nothing, and a total liability on the social services. I know lots of old people that are still probably doing more than they did when they were being paid to do it.
All the figures have been made by Norman Greenway from specially constructed rubber moulds, taking about 3 years to perfect. Let's continue with the game that we've got now, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, you make the first move and we'll see how we go.
Right.
So supposing I were to...
You could take that.
Can the tank take...
Can't take a plane, no.
It can't take a plane?
No, this fighter plane could take that.
And Bob wouldn't tell us whether he won or lost. Have a nice evening, won't you? Good night.